A successful elderly businessman, Mr. Campbell, had two daughters, Kendall and Ida, the older of the two. Since childhood, the daughters competed against each other to prove just who was smarter, trying to get their parents' attention. And even with age, this desire to stand out from the other sister has remained firm, albeit slightly subsided. Ida still managed to outrun Kendall by the time she was 30 by earning a grant of $200,000 to open her own chain of coffee shops. Kendall, of course, was jealous, but she admitted that her sister's success was only because of Ida's own intelligence. Still, Kendall found opportunity to be called the smartest when the city announced a contest for ingenuity, in which absolutely everyone could participate. The sisters at first did not even think about participating, but when the city promised the winner a car, the women did not hesitate to apply. On the day of the competition, people gathered in the Great Hall, where they were quizzed with a series of questions. Surprisingly, both sisters made it to the final round, leaving their rivals behind. Kendall and Ida earned the same number of points, a feat that confounded the judges. But then one of the members of the commission slyly squinted and asked, "Tell me, what color is human blood?" Ida scoffed at the question and replied, "Of course it's red. What a silly question." But Kendall, unlike her sister, was wary of the question, so she decided to answer the opposite, just in case. "I believe our blood can be other colors too." Ida looked over to her rival and questioned what she had just said. Kendall repeated her answer confidently. "Human blood is not red." At this point, Ida could not stand it anymore, and with undisguised indignation began to shout at her sister, talking about the unshakable facts proven by scientists. Kendall, on the other hand, sighed silently while the jury looked at her, smiling. Then, exhausted from the argument, Ida turned to them and said, "Do you see that she doesn't understand the truth? How can anyone convince this silly lady that she is wrong?" The head judge, Mrs. Dorison, smiled and responded, "Honey, Kendall isn't the silly one here at all." Ida threw a shocked look at the judge. "So what you mean to tell me is that blood can be colorful?" "But," the elder sister said, as she was interrupted. No. Of course it can't be colorful, except darker, burgundy. Do you really think your sister doesn't know that?" But once you heard her give the wrong answer, you deemed her as ignorant and beneath you and still continued the argument, trying to prove something to an unreasonable person. And this, as you know, does not lead to anything good, Mrs. Dorison reasoned. Ida, realizing the absurdity of the situation, lowered her head and shook her sister's hand, ready to admit defeat. But then the keys to a brand new car were handed to her. "And yet you answered the questions correctly, so the winnings are yours," one of the judges told Ida. The shocked winner looked at her smiling sister, Kendall, and hugged her tightly. It is not worth trying to convey the truth to someone who rejects it every time, even if that person subconsciously knows that they are wrong. Let fate itself bring them to reason.